Leica really wanted to change the game a little bit when it comes to animated water.
Early on, I knew it was going to be a challenge. Water and stop motion are not a good mix. They do not go well together.
How we're going to really pull off water that will be convincing to the audience that your characters are really getting wet.
It is a really exciting thing to try.
Water was an unbelievable task for us. Typically water, when you're talking about stop motion films, it's always tough. It's a raging ocean. It's a rainstorm that's happening. Characters jumping off of a boat, going underwater, splashing through the water, swimming through the water.
It's enough to give our visual effects department a nervous breakdown. I think we succeeded.
It was just complete terror, excited terror.
If it's difficult and it's impossible and nobody's ever done before, we're gonna make a run at it, you know?
It's practical and it's CG.
If it's practical, that means that it physically exists somewhere within the walls of this studio. It's been made, I can grab onto it, I can hold it, and when we put it into the movie, it's being shot through a physical camera lens. Now, if it's CG, that means that it's computer generated. It's created in the computer. And the only place that it ever exists here within the walls of this studio is on the hard drives.
We produced lots of practical reference for our CG team to ground their effects in our world and in Kubo's world.
Oliver Jones and the rigging team, they just go to work and they start building oceans and they start showing us what it would look like if a wave was cresting, you know, and you had white caps building and coming over. And they used, unbelievably crazy materials to execute upon a vision like that. They built this crazy contraption out of this mesh of copper wires that would roll. It was crazy. And then they would start trying out different types of fabric. They were using like shower curtains. They would animate that surface so it would undulate like waves. It was beautiful. On the visual effects side, what we do is we take all of that practical reference, and that's where we start. We do a photorealistic interpretation of what rigging and animation has come up with, and then we iterate until finally we land somewhere that's beautiful and that feels like it belongs in this world and it feels physical. And once we hit that sweet spot, then we're good to go.
On a live action film, you would be shooting that either on the boat itself or on another boat with a telephoto lens. And so there would always be a little bit of undulation, a little bit of movement. Stop motion doesn't like that. It wants everything to be still, to be not moving.
He wanted me to take a look at what the boats at night, being thrown around by the storm, what that would look like, and taking that motion and copying it and sampling it so that we could get as realistic as possible with how our boat would move through a storm.
The boat was certainly one of the most complex scenes in the film. It was incredibly difficult because you have the boat on a hexapod, so it's moving, doing its thing. You have one character that's on the deck of the boat. You have another character that's on a rig, sometimes 12 feet in the air, and the camera was sort of all over the place. You have all these things that are moving different from one another that you're trying to keep track of frame by frame.
So there are a lot of different things at play that made it very, very challenging. But between the cinematography, the incredible stop-motion animation that our animators did, and then the editing, and then the music on top of that, the atmosphere just really crackles with that creativity, where you're all influencing and inspiring each other.
There's something so seamless about it. When technology can marry storytelling like that, it's really powerful.
That is one of the most rewarding and exciting parts of the process.